Nigerian televangelist TB Joshua is facing an arrest warrant after failing to appear at the inquest into the Nigeria church building collapse for a second time. The inquiry is investigating the cause of the September 12th disaster, which claimed the lives of 81 South Africans and many others. So what's behind the multi-millionaire preacher's reluctance to appear? Bali Chwene is a representative of the Synagogue Church of All Nations. He joins us in studio now. Bali, thank you so much for coming in to speak to us.
Thank you.
Why did TB Joshua not appear at the inquest this week?
I think we need to put things in perspective. You remember very well the first time when it was so-called referred to for the prophet not appearing, that was because there was no subpoena served on him to appear. That is the reason why you can only appear when you're being called and served properly, legally according to Nigerian law. So that it had what happened in the...
If I may just come in there, according to the inquest, it did serve him with a summons.
But not personally. You see, there's a requirement of Nigerian law that a subpoena of that nature must be served personally on him. So that was not done. So coming now to the second situation now, which is basically yesterday. The reason why he did not appear is because, on advice of his legal team, we brought an application yesterday which would make it almost unnecessary for him to be able to appear. Now, the substance of that particular application is continuing to be argued today in court. That is basically to challenge the jurisdiction of the coroner to continue with this particular inquest in the manner in which it's proceeding.
What aspect of this, the manner in which he's proceeding, bothers the court?
What transpired, let me just take you back slightly for you to be able to comprehend in full. What transpired is that yesterday we went to the Lagos High Court and the judge gave us leave to bring a judicial review for the inquest. And the grounds for that particular judicial review is basically, one, the element of jurisdiction, that is, the coroner is entertaining aspects that are not relevant per se to the typical of an inquest, first. Secondly, there's an element of biasness on the part of the coroner. If you have watched it, unfortunately, you're catching it in bits and pieces. We have been there from the beginning. So the issue of bias has been clearly articulated. It has been addressed on a sidebar and even during the proceedings. Is well documented as part of that particular record. And inevitably, therefore, you cannot be able to talk about him being able to appear because you are now challenging the very authority, the jurisdiction of the coroner to proceed. So it is not, I want to put it abundantly clear, it is not at all because the prophet does not or deliberately decides not to attend or disobey the law. He's a law-abiding citizen of Nigeria. May I say that again? Law-abiding citizen of Nigeria abides by the laws. However, we have a situation here which we have presented. Today, that particular motion of seeking the injunction is proceeding.
May I just ask, what is the harm in the prophet simply appearing to tell the truth? Well, what would be the harm in that, simply out of respect to those who lost their lives in that collapse?
It's no. I think you're talking two separate aspects. Let me address the last part. I think it's completely disingenuous to say, well, out of respect, let him be able to just appear. I think let me put it in context here. The prophet is the chief mourner here. He has, on numerous occasions, indicated how much he feels about this. Number of aspects that he has done in order to make sure that the families are comfortable.
Is extremely offensive to the families who've suffered the loss of loved ones here. Well, how can he claim to be the chief mourner when people have lost flesh and blood in this accident?
Madam, if you were to listen and to be able to hear what he has done for the families, and the best voice, by the way, is those particular families themselves. They have come in such humble ways to be able to say, Prophet, we appreciate so much. This is not him saying, it's not me saying, the very victims that you're talking about, that we appreciate so much of the love that you have shown for us. We are with you, we keep on supporting you. That's what they're saying. Now,
that love seems to boil down to a donation of 50,000 per family or per affected relative. However, given the gravity of the situation, the mass loss of life in this accident. I mean, is 50,000 even an appropriate gesture from a man who is a multimillionaire?
Okay. Again, I think you're completely misconstruing the gift. Understand here. Let me take you through. Firstly, you can never be able to quantify monetary-wise the death of anyone, irrespective of who the person is. You can never, because you will then be missing what humanity is all about. What the Prophet has done here is, he has said, listen, there is death that has occurred. He has made complete commitment to all the families and say, I am with you. Now, you might think that, the monetary aspect is so important to you. Another family might think, as they've told us, listen, the fact that spiritually he is with us as a father, that's far much more fundamental than what you are articulating. And by the way, the Prophet has made it abundantly clear. This is a journey, says, I am going to walk with you in this particular path. So don't confine it and be very myopic in terms of the analysis of just the 50,000. It has been put on record. We are walking with these particular families in this particular painful journey. So it is not just a question of 50,000 in the context of, no, please, let's put things in perspective.
We're running out of time, Bali. Finally, I just want to end on this point. Expert witnesses have ruled out in this inquest the theory of aerial sabotage or a possible explosion, but the hearing has been told that the guest house was not built with planning permission, and it wasn't structurally sound. Can you confirm for me that planning permission was received and that the proper channels were approached in order to build this?
Absolutely. I have mentioned it before. The Allende, who is the Commissioner for Urban Development and Fiscal Planning, he is the one under, you see, the statement that you're picking up, Madam, with the greatest respect, you're picking up a statement that was just mentioned under Chief Evidence in Chief. You have not listened to, under cross-examination, what he has said. He says, yes, the plans that were submitted, which were assessed in June this year, prior to the incident, are approvable plans for all intents and purposes.
Approvable or approved?
Approvable plans.
What I understand by that is that they were not approved, but it was possible that they would be approved.
Let me explain to you. Because you see, you need to understand what it means in terms of the Nigerian law, or what planning and submissions means. The fact that you've got an assessment, and then you assess, and then you make a payment, that on its own, according to their own planning laws, basically, you have, what is left is just really very cosmetic process. So it's important that, when you make a mention that, there's been, for example, an accepted kind of statement. Not at all. That statement is very confined to what you as a witness. Let's give a classical example. You as a witness, when you go and appear in court, you make certain allegations. Law says of natural justice, the other party is entitled to be able to respond and to question the veracity of what you're saying. So I think it's completely unfair to be able to confine it to just one version which you've got, which has not been tested. That very commissioner, under testing that particular version, came out abundantly clear to be able to say, in his view, and under cross-examination, he even went further to be able to say, by the way, the manner in which the building collapsed, number one, symmetrical, which means at the go. Number two, the speed at which it collapsed, which is under 5 seconds. And the fact that it never touches 2-meter boundary walls around the building, it went literally zoom, just like this. It says it is not indicative, operative way, it is not indicative of a structural defect.
Thanks very much for coming in to talk to us. I did. Thank you so very much for that very slightly condescending interview with you, but thanks. Clearly, the lawyer in you does come out. Bali Twene, representative of the Synagogue Church of All Nations.